A year ago, the United States Senate voted to confirm Pam Bondi as Attorney General. As I said during her confirmation hearing last year, the Attorney General must be committed first and foremost to the Constitution and the American people, not to the President and his political agenda. I was unconvinced then that Mrs. Bondi shared my view. Over the course of the last year, my concerns, sadly, have been borne out. Even before Attorney General Bondi was installed atop the Justice Department, Donald Trump had moved swiftly to purge DOJ and the FBI of senior career law enforcement officials. In their place came partisan hacks, including a January 6 rioter who encouraged his fellow insurrectionists to murder law enforcement officers protecting the Capitol. He was shouting the words, "Kill him," when he came to the police who were defending this Capitol building. That person ended up being pardoned and then becoming part of the Department of Justice staff. Can you believe it? Under the direction of Attorney General Bondi, these MAGA loyalists pounce on President Trump's perceived enemies. In addition to the now dismissed indictments against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James, federal prosecutors have opened criminal investigation into Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, Governor Lisa Cook, and others. The list goes on and on of the enemies of the president who are being prosecuted by the Department of Justice. Why? Not because they broke a law, but because the president believes they are his political enemies. And it begs a question. If the president can turn the Department of Justice and the FBI into his own personal police force to target his personal political enemies, what is stopping him from targeting ordinary Americans? Tragically, we're already seeing the answer to that question in the Department of Justice's partisan response to the Homeland Security Department's abuses in Chicago and Minneapolis. The Department of Justice has sought to press charges against Americans who peacefully protest, like Miramar Martinez in Chicago. In addition to state-sponsored violence against its own citizen, the country is less safe as DOJ has redirected thousands of law enforcement agents to immigration-related initiatives and away from gun violence, drug trafficking, and child exploitation. When this president, through his Department of Justice and Department of Homeland Security, announced that they were going after the worst of the worst, rapists, murderers, terrorists, the criminally insane, criminal children's predators, and the like, the worst of the worst, remember that? Then think of this Miramar Martinez, 30-year-old Montessori teacher with no criminal record, born and raised in the city of Chicago, an American citizen. That was one of the victims they shot 5 times, trying to kill her for leaving a scene of a confrontation. One day, on day one in the office, Attorney General Bondi created the so-called Weaponization Working Group, a task force that she wanted to investigate the investigators and prosecute the prosecutors. Recent reports suggest the group will soon meet daily. Recent reports suggest the group will soon meet daily with the goal of producing results in the next 2 months that re-energize the partisan criminal probes that only exist for the sake of one sad man's ego and revitalize his dangerous conspiracy theories. But in the quest to pursue the president's political enemies and rewrite history, Attorney General Pam Bondi has tripped over her own feet repeatedly, the most recent example being her mismanagement of the Epstein files. Let's take a trip down memory lane. Last February, the Attorney General claimed she had Epstein's client list, quote, sitting on her desk right now to review. Several days later in a media event at the White House stage, she released a number of binders of files to conservative influencers and commentators that were already largely publicly available. Then, as whistleblower disclosure to my office revealed, in the wake of the public criticism, she pressured 1,000 FBI agents to comb through thousands of pages of documents in the Epstein files and to flag any mention of President Trump. This effort resulted in an unsigned memo released by DOJ and FBI that walked back Attorney General Bondi's claims and concluded there was no incriminating client list despite her statement to the contrary. Then in December, the Attorney General broke the law when our department failed to release the entirety of the Epstein files by the date mandated by Congress, signed into law. DOJ continues to slowly walk the release, and what they have released has harmed survivors by not appropriately reducing the names, images, and other personal information. The American people deserve answers about the conduct of the nation's leading law enforcement officer. No public servant who respects constitutional checks and balances would behave the way she has. According to an academic analysis of 400 cases involving the Trump administration, as of October 2025, at least 35 times, courts have found the Department of Justice under President Trump has provided false or highly misleading information, including false sworn declarations. It makes you wonder, what is the Attorney General concealing? What kind of precedent is the department creating for itself under this leadership? We cannot allow the Trump administration to stonewall or lie to its co-equal branches of government, Congress and the judiciary. The announcement today that 700 federal agents are going to be removed from Minnesota is a minor relief to that beleaguered state. There are 3,000 agents already in place. So to take 700 away is to still have a massive force larger than the local police force in Minnesota. And my question from the state of Illinois is, how many of these agents are headed to my state? Who will be the next beneficiary of this outrageous conduct? The leaders in Congress, Democrats and Republicans, have a responsibility. Hold ICE and Border Patrol to the same standards as every other police force in America. Don't give them special privileges. Give them only their rights under the law and make them hold to them. It's one of the cruelties and reality that we face today is that the standards are being changed so that these people can harass innocent individuals like Miramar Martinez. That is unacceptable. I yield the floor.